Mark Helfman is a Medium top writer for Bitcoin and finance topics and editor of Crypto is Easy. He also contributes commentary for CCN, The Startup, Blockchain News, Hacker Noon, and The Capital. He regularly appears among the most viewed cryptocurrency writers on Quora, where his commentary has reached millions of readers. His book, Consensus Land, explores the social, cultural, and financial challenges of a fictional country that runs on cryptocurrency. It sits on the Government Blockchain Association's recommended book list and received 5-star ratings from Red-Headed Book Lover and Reader's Favorite. His other book, Bitcoin or Bust, Wall Street's Entry into Cryptocurrency, hit #2 on Amazon's list of short financial reads. Previously, Mark worked for US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and later H&R Block's Government Relations Department. He has consulted for several technology entrepreneurs and now holds a career in public service writing, editing, and managing informational content for a large government agency. His insights on cryptocurrency reflect his understanding of history, politics, and economics, and his experience in government, real estate, business, and private equity. He tries to keep it simple when he writes. He says, it's cryptocurrency. Relax and enjoy the ride. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate being here.
Mark, let's just get straight into it. Well, first of all, let's get a little bit of a short history on yourself. How on earth have you got into cryptocurrency? What was your journey here?
You know, it's funny. I actually got into cryptocurrency because somebody stole my credit card to buy Bitcoin in 2007. So I got this charge in my bill, a series of charges on my bill for Coinbase, which is, I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard of Coinbase, but at the time I didn't know what it was. That's what really prompted me to check. So I Googled, I was like, Coinbase, what is this? And after contesting the charges and being like, what the F is Bitcoin? This is ridiculous, you know? It was just like, it was that time where Bitcoin was kind of everywhere. So it seemed like every week or two, there'd be a little news story or this or that, or like something would come up. And I remember seeing an ad by Tika Tawari for one of his, so he's like this guru, or he markets himself as a guru on cryptocurrency.
Shitcoin hustler.
What's that?
I thought he was a shitcoin hustler.
Some of those projects are really good. I mean,
look, he knows his onions. Let's face it.
Let me tell you something, man. There are a lot of shitcoin hustlers around here. Okay, all right.
Uncle Bob might be one as well.
Come on, hey, yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, if you're signed up to my newsletter, I throw in a few altcoins every now and then. But what are you gonna do? You know. It was one of his free seminars. And so I listened in, and that kind of got me thinking. And so then I looked into it a little more and did a little more research on my own.
Look, to give him his credit, is this 2016 or was this 2018?
This is 2017. 2017. That just happened to me. It was the fall of 2017.
Because he actually got in on ETH relatively early. Was that what coins was he talking about back then?
I don't really remember, but I know Bitcoin stood out. And it's funny because I had a chance to connect with another guy, Dan Conway, who you may have read his book. I forget what it's called. I think it's called. It's a story of an Ethereum millionaire, and I don't remember the exact title, but Dan Conway is the name, and he got in like at the bottom. And he put in basically his life savings. So yeah, I mean, if you're lucky to do something like that, you're good, you're straight. Yeah, but I mean, that doesn't mean anything, right? It doesn't. But for me at the time, it was just an interesting thing that I had just seen popping around. So I was curious.
Of course, yeah.
And once I started learning and understanding a little bit more, it struck me as I mean, Bitcoin itself was interesting enough, but the whole idea and the concept behind blockchain, cryptocurrency as a technology really it resonated with me. And I pretty quickly realized that it's a revolutionary technology. And I mean revolutionary in a very fundamental way. Not like, I think people oversimplify it by saying digital gold and internet money and things like that. Because the way this technology works, it doesn't make anything better. It just gives you a totally different way to move money, money, property, and things around the world. And that is really valuable and really, really interesting to see how it plays out. So that was kind of in the back of my head as everything was popping off and going crazy and everybody was making money. And I got friends texting me like, oh, did you hear about Bitcoin? I'm making all this money and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I heard about Bitcoin. And then everything crashed, right?
Oh, yeah.
Everything crashed. But while everybody and everybody I knew was like, oh my God, this is great. Oh, I'm making so much money. Hey, did you hear about this altcoin? Oh, Tron. Oh, Verge. Oh, and all these other scam coins, right? You know, once all that energy died down, I was the only one who still cared. And
Why?
so
Why did you still care?
That's what stuck with me, and that's why so that's my entry into crypto, and
Wow.
I've never left.
Yeah, mate. Look, it's exactly the same as my story. 2017. Yeah. I walked into, I guess it was like some kind of greengrocers, like an Iraqi greengrocers in a place called Kilburn, which is about as close to as you can get. The look of it is as close as you can get to Brooklyn here in London. Real kind of like mixed, multicultural, bit rough around the edges, a bit edgy, but really cool as well. Good bars, good clubs. I used to live there, walked into a greengrocers. The fella behind, I saw a Bitcoin machine. I said, what's that? And he said, it's a Bitcoin machine. And I said, what does it do? It says, it makes you money. And I said, what do you mean it makes you money? And he showed it was like August at the time. He said, look, this month I put 100 in and it's made me 34 pounds. And I thought, wow, it's making it's a money machine.
Wow. Magic money machine.
And I went on that journey all the way up, and I made, at that time, I mean, if I'd managed to hold on to the amount of money I had made from such a small investment, oh my God. Well, it's a different story, but I rode it all the way up, and like a fool, or as a first timer, I rode it all the way back down. But anyway, so you stuck around, I stuck around, but I'm more interested in your story. Take us from that point where all of your friends left the space, but you stayed in. What take us from there.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say I was necessarily surprised, but the thing for me, and you know, you mentioned my book or my books, and the first book I put together, Consensus Land, was actually, I did it because, like, in reflecting on what had been going on and what I had seen, just the way that everything, like the price went down and all the enthusiasm left, but the technology didn't leave. The technology didn't go anywhere, and everybody that I knew, which was very, very few people at the time, but everybody I knew who was still like in the space, they were just as excited as I still was. And I looked around, I was like, well, how did that happen? That this great technology comes out, people get really psyched about it, but only because of price. Like, only because of price. And that was it. There was nothing else, no substance, nobody talked, nobody cared about, nothing else stuck about anything that happened over that 6-8 months, where everybody's talking about Bitcoin, and what sticks? Oh, it crashed. And that's it. That's the only thing people remember. And the only thing people care about. I was like, you know, if you could just show people the technology. So it's not an abstraction, right? So it's not an abstraction. It's not tucked away in some, like, you know, the literature and the YouTube guys who are all like, hey, we're still trading this, we're making millions of dollars. Or the literature, which is either really technical, really like kind of dense, goes over people's heads, or it's like really these, you know, these almost conspiracy theory like diatribes against your quote unquote fiat and central authorities and governments and how they're destroying the world. If I could contribute something that showed people what this technology would mean in real life, well, maybe that'd be a really good contribution. So I started writing Consensus Land. And I even reached out to some of the altcoin projects and people I knew who were working on Bitcoin, so that everything I put in that book would be real and realistic, based on actual blockchain projects that are being created, or in some cases, technology that is already rolled out. But I had this concept of writing a story about a country that runs on cryptocurrency, like Gulliver's Travels, right? Like that kind of theme where you have this businessman who goes on a tour of this country, and in going on a tour, meeting people, seeing how they use cryptocurrency to run their country. The government uses cryptocurrency, people use cryptocurrency. Everything is just that technology. That I thought that by putting it in that realistic context, fictionalized, but realistic, that would help people really kind of understand what the big deal is. Like why this is so important. What does it change? Well, read the book and you'll find out. And that's been the feedback that I've gotten so far, is that people who are not initiated, who read it, are like, oh, now I get it. They're not buying Bitcoin. They're not rushing out to buy Bitcoin. They're not, they're not like us, but they understand. And so getting a little bit of that positive feedback was really good. I started thinking about what was going on in terms of how traditional finance has started getting into cryptocurrency, Bitcoin futures, all these different exchanges popping up that are being run by guys who used to be on Wall Street, or used to be in Hong Kong finance, Singapore finance, like high finance, getting into it. And so I just started thinking about these things, and to help build myself an author platform, I started writing about that. So I've been doing that ever since, and kind of just growing my knowledge base, and contributing knowledge and also receiving knowledge on the other side, which is really rewarding. It's really, really interesting.
It is interesting. So what is the big deal about cryptocurrency? Without ruining the crux of the book, what is the big deal?
Well, I mean, so I'll ruin the crux of the book. The crux of the book is the crux of the book is you can apply this technology to actually delivering good services, whether that's government services, public goods, or just people doing their daily life. Because what it does is it solves a problem with money. It's a problem that you probably don't even think about. You certainly don't think about it on a day-to-day basis. And even if you step back and kind of think about how the financial system works, it's not necessarily apparent. But the problem with money is you always somebody else needs to vouch for it. Somebody else needs to assure you, like if we do business, somebody needs to assure you that when I pay you, that's money, you can take it and you can use it. It's real, it's real, it's not counterfeit. I have the authority to use it, and that the price that I say it is, that price is valid. And it seems like a really simple thing. And it's simple because if you know somebody for 20 years and you have a blood oath that you will never, ever do anything to hurt each other, then you never have to worry about that. But there are 7 billion people on this earth, and I guarantee you 6.9 billion at least are not people you can necessarily give that implicit unconditional trust. And that's why you have governments, contracts, legal system, oaths, signatures, and all these other things that make just trading things complicated. But once you run on a blockchain with cryptocurrency, you take out all that complexity. You take out a lot of those middlemen. You take out a lot of the friction that goes into the transactions. And it seems like you say transactions as an abstract, but every time, like right now, we're having this conversation because there are about probably 25 or 30 different people, technology vendors, entities along the way that are getting paid to make sure that we have this engagement, right? That's a level of complexity and friction and cost. Well, once you run that on a blockchain, you can get rid of a lot of that friction, complexity, and cost. And so what new opportunities does that create? What new innovations?
That's a good question.
Does that create?
What new opportunities does that create? And what does it, what kind of, you call it a utopia, cryptocurrency utopia. So the book is called Consensus Land, a Cryptocurrency Utopia. What
Right.
does this utopia look like? And how is it different from the world we live in right now? In short, because obviously we don't have all day.
Right. Well, in a nutshell, it shows a world where the government doesn't control the money system. And so what the government does is a matter of serving the public. But in a larger sense, I mean, I don't want to say so much of the book. I want people to read the book.
No. Of course, excuse me.
Me simplifying it into like a 20-second nutshell, I think is not as interesting as reading the book. But I will point out one thing, and this is in regards to what's going on right now with COVID-19, with coronavirus. So one of the issues that you have is people and products move all over the world. And there is a whole bunch of work and effort that goes into making sure that everything's legit. But if you had a blockchain, a public permissionless blockchain, where all this stuff was verified and validated by mathematical formula, then there are a lot of problems that solves. And on a small scale, the city of, I believe it's Singapore, it might be another South Asian city, but they use a blockchain-based system run by VChain, which is, I think they're out of China, VChain, to authenticate their vaccines. And the reason is because, at least in Southeast Asia, you never know if your medical products are legit. But even if you look at just the way that things are, like just distributing protective equipment and medical gear and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the United States, like it was a big story. Nobody cares about it anymore, but it was a big story. We got like $40 million worth of fake.
Yeah, we had it here too.
Purchased like $46 million worth of faulty stuff. Well,
and the blockchain would solve that.
Well, what it would do is it would make sure that you have the level of accountability so that somebody couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It makes it very difficult to do those kind of just shitty behaviors. And so you don't have all the legal, the auditing. I know, we're working for a federal agency. The complexity that it takes to just issue grants, funds, contracts. So once you strip that out, now it's anybody can come up with a solution and just kind of patch right into the blockchain because it's free, it's open, permissionless. And think about it like the way desktop computers changed the way people use computers, because back then you had mainframes and you had to go to a place with like a card. I think they used to have punch cards, or maybe they did have discs, but it was one place and you went to it and it was a line because you had to wait in line, wait for your turn to go and do your whatever it is you want to do with that computer. And then somebody came up with desktop computers. And now every single person on earth had the computing power of a mainframe at their fingertips. And so look at all the innovation that came out. And I guarantee you in the 1970s, people were having this conversation saying, oh, you know what I think we could do is, it'd be really cool if we had like these little games and you could just give them to people. That would be cool, right? And they could just go to the store, buy the game, and you never see them again. They just play it in their house. When not realizing that video games were important, but there were like 9,000 other great things that came out of desktop computing. So I think the conversations we have today, when we think about the innovations, it's just scratching the very surface of how things change once you can distribute the power and initiative and equip people to just have ideas and do them. Right? In the United States, there are 5 big banks. There are lots of little banks. But if you can't get in with the bank, you can't innovate. You can't create new financial products. But with blockchain, anybody can. And I think it's that, and so for me, it's that faith in humans to be able to take this technology that's open and permissionless, censorship resistant, and what they call anti-fragile, and you use it for all sorts of amazing things. That's what's really exciting to me.
Wow, I mean, you just put it right there. That I was going to ask you what you're most excited about. Actually, what are you most excited about? Because that is an exciting prospect. Actually, you are one of the most positive thinkers I've actually met in the space so far. Personally, for yourself, just to kind of finish, what are you most excited about right now in the space? What interests you?
Well, I'll be candid. I'm really excited that right now the world is kind of waking up to the idea that there's merit in cryptocurrency, because one of the things that you never want to bet against people, you never want to bet against humanity. And now that there are a lot of people and a lot of humanity really getting interested in this space, I'm just really excited to see how all that energy, even if it's just somebody who says who hears that their friend or neighbor made a few bucks off of Bitcoin and then says, oh, wait, it's going up again. Even that little thing that drives somebody to maybe put a little bit of money in. That's what excites me. It's that people are getting turned on to what's going on. And my hope is that as they get turned on, just like we were, that they discover it's a lot more than just making money, selling your crypto for more than you bought it for, that there's a whole nother world to discover. That's what really excites me.
Wow. Well, look, we'll leave it there. Mark, great having you on today. Really, I love your passion. I love your energy. I love your vigor and your verve. Where can we find out more about you, and tell us where we can buy this this book, because I want to read it actually.
Okay, so well, you can Google me, Mark Helfman. MarkHelfman.com is my website. So I published there. I also have a newsletter. It's called Crypto is Easy. It's typed just like it's spelled. Crypto is Easy. So you can check me out there. Consensus Land is pretty much in every bookstore. So if you go to any bookstore, wherever you are, worldwide, distributed worldwide, and just search for Consensus Land, it'll pull up. My other book, Bitcoin or Bust, Wall Street's Entry into Cryptocurrency, that is exclusive to Amazon. But for both those books, if you sign up for a premium membership for Crypto is Easy, I give you those books as a thank you for signing up.
Well, look, thank you for coming on today, Mark. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And let's get you on again sooner rather than later.
All right. And next time I'll be like depressed if you really want. I'll just be really sad. I'll be really sad. Like, no, it's too slow. It doesn't scale. Nobody uses Lightning Network. All coins are all shit.
Yeah, he's just in a good mood today. That's why he's
like.
No, it's been great having you on, Mark.
I appreciate
you coming on. Thanks very much.